Brock Bowers, just 1 year in the league, and he's already being named the best tight end in the entire NFL. Let that sink in. He walked into the league, stepped onto the field, and took over like he'd been here for years. No learning curve. No hesitation. Just dominance. According to a recent ranking from league executives, coaches, and scouts, Bowers is already number 1. Not by media hype, not by fan votes, but by people inside NFL front offices, people who build teams for a living. And this isn't just another list, this is history. No player, not Justin Jefferson, not Joe Burrow, not Sauce Gardner, has ever topped their position rankings after just 1 season. Bowers did. His highest vote, number 1. His lowest, 7. Over 50% of first-place votes went to him. That's unheard of for a rookie. Let's rewind for a second. Remember the 2024 draft? Some had him as the highest-graded player overall, but because of a loaded quarterback class and the tight end stigma, he dropped to pick 13. The Raiders pounced. Critics called it a luxury pick. Some said it was redundant after drafting Michael Mayer the year before. They were wrong. Dead wrong. Bowers wasn't just the right pick. He was a franchise-changing pick. He exploded as a rookie, producing monster numbers despite catching passes from a carousel of quarterbacks. Gardner Minshew, Aidan O'Connell, Desmond Ridder. Maybe even you if you showed up with a helmet. It didn't matter who threw him the ball. Bowers found a way. Always. He made tough catches look routine, broke tackles like a freight train, created mismatches everywhere. If the ball was in his area code, it was his. Now, as we head into 2025, the Raiders' offense looks different. Geno Smith is under center. Ashton Jeanty is ready to carry the rock. And for once, there's structure. There's balance. There's a real plan. That means defenses are going to have to make a choice. Stack the box to slow down Jeanty. Leave Bowers in one-on-one coverage. Pick your poison. Sure, the stats might not explode this year, because the Raiders are finally spreading the ball around, but make no mistake, Brock Bowers is the heartbeat of this offense. He's a matchup nightmare. A game changer. And he's just getting started. The silver and black struck gold with this one. Brock Bowers may not have the same jaw-dropping numbers in year 2, and that's okay. Stats can fluctuate, but his impact, that's only going to grow. In year 1, he dominated with subpar quarterback play. Now with a real offensive system and Geno Smith leading the huddle, Bowers is going to be more dangerous, more complete, and more valuable to this Raiders offense. Expect his effectiveness to improve, even if the stat sheet doesn't tell the whole story. Last year, the Raiders finished 4-13. That can't happen again. Not with this kind of talent on the roster. Let's look at the top 5 tight ends. According to the latest ESPN rankings, a list compiled from the votes of NFL executives, scouts, and coaches. 1. Brock Bowers, Raiders. 2. George Kittle, 49ers. 3. Sam Laporta, Lions. 4. Trey McBride, Cardinals. 5. Travis Kelce, Chiefs. Think about that. Bowers is ahead of legends like Kelce and Kittle. Already. If the Raiders can stack another breakout star on top of that, they might just be on the verge of something special. Which brings us to the next name. Ashton Jeanty. If Bowers was the best tight end in last year's draft, Jeanty could be the best running back in this one. He's explosive, shifty, and built to carry a heavy load in this offense. If he delivers the way Bowers did, the Raiders suddenly have cornerstone pieces at 2 critical positions. But before Jeanty even hits the field, there's business to take care of. Raiders rookies report to training camp this Thursday, July 17th. Veterans arrive later on the 22nd. But there's one big issue. Second-round pick Jack Beck, the wide receiver out of TCU, still hasn't signed his contract. He's not alone. Nearly 30 second-round picks are still unsigned. Why? It's a standoff tied to quarterback Tyler Shaw, the Saints' new expected starter. After Derek Carr's retirement, Shaw is trying to secure a fully guaranteed deal. That's uncommon territory for a non-first-round pick, especially a quarterback. The ripple effect? Other second-rounders don't want to sign until his deal is done. If he gets full guarantees, others want the same, especially in the third and fourth years of their contracts. Until that situation clears up, guys like Beck remain in limbo. It's not just posturing. This is about long-term security for young players trying to lock in their futures. The question is, if camp opens and Beck still hasn't signed, does he show up? Maybe under a temporary injury protection deal. Or does he hold out entirely? No one knows yet. But time's ticking. And this is exactly the kind of behind-the-scenes tension that can shape a season before it even starts. Because make no mistake, Jack Beck isn't just another receiver. He was drafted to contribute. The Raiders need every weapon available if they're going to compete in a loaded AFC. Let's talk Raiders royalty. The question was simple. If you had to carve 4 faces into the side of a mountain to represent the greatest Raiders of all time, who makes the cut? It sounds easy until you try it. Only 4 players. No coaches. No owners. Just players. And for a team with the history, swagger, and legacy of the Raiders, 4 isn't enough. You want to talk about impact, legacy, toughness? Try fitting that entire story into 4 names. It's impossible without making painful omissions. But I had to try. Here's how I approached it. Not just players I've seen, not just favorites, but legends. The ones who built this franchise, brick by brick. The men whose greatness defines what it means to wear silver and black. First up, Jim Otto. Mr. Raider, the Iron Man. The original center of it all. He gave everything, his body, his soul, to this team. He was the foundation, both literally and symbolically. I never saw him play live, but I've seen the respect he commands in the building, in the locker room, in Raiders lore. His place is eternal. Next, Tim Brown. Touchdown Timmy, a Raider through and through. From the moment he put on that jersey, he became the standard for consistency and class. One of the greatest wide receivers the league has ever seen, and a man who carried the franchise through eras of change, always producing, always leading. For me, he's the greatest Raider wideout of all time. Third, Kenny Stabler. The Snake, a gunslinger. A magician. Cool under pressure. He wasn't just a quarterback, he was a heartbeat. Stabler gave Raider Nation some of its most iconic moments, its wildest comebacks, and its purest identity. Fearless, unorthodox, unforgettable. He belongs on that mountain for what he meant in the clutch, and for how he embodied the renegade spirit of this team. And finally, Marcus Allen, a Hall of Fame running back. A Super Bowl MVP, one of the most complete backs to ever lace them up. His vision, patience, and effortless cuts made him a nightmare for defenses. And while his time with the Raiders ended in a storm of controversy, his legacy is untouchable. He was a cornerstone of greatness. Yes, there are dozens of names that could have been here. The Raiders have over 30 Hall of Famers tied to the franchise. Some, like Eric Allen, made a strong mark with the team but starred elsewhere. Others, like Randy Moss or Warren Sapp, wore the uniform but never became Raiders in spirit. It's a unique challenge, honoring history without losing sight of what defines this franchise: toughness, loyalty, fire, and pride. So that's my 4. Jim Otto, Tim Brown, Kenny Stabler, Marcus Allen. 4 giants carved into the soul of Raider Nation. And if you disagree, that's okay. That's part of being a fan. This isn't just history, it's personal. Every Raider fan has their own Mount Rushmore. That's the beauty of it. Leaving Charles Woodson off the Mount Rushmore wasn't easy. In fact, it hurt. He was my favorite Raider. The intensity, the leadership, the swagger, few ever wore the silver and black with more pride. But this was a 4-slot decision. No owners, no coaches, just players. And when you're picking only 4 to represent a team with this kind of history, sacrifices have to be made. Some fans asked, how do you leave Woodson out? And trust me, I asked myself the same thing. But when you factor in that his Super Bowl ring and Defensive Player of the Year award came with Green Bay, it complicated things. This wasn't just about greatness. It was about legacy as a Raider. Marcus Allen faced a similar dilemma. His feud with ownership and eventual stint in Kansas City could have hurt his standing. But at the end of the day, Allen was a Super Bowl MVP in silver and black. His impact on the franchise was too great to ignore. There are dozens of legends who could have been included. Fred Biletnikoff, George Blanda, Cliff Branch, Willie Brown, Dave Casper, Howie Long, Ray Guy. The list goes on and on. That's what makes this franchise unique. It's steeped in greatness. But here's the thing. The mountain is built from the past. The challenge now, build the future. We need new names, new legends, future Hall of Famers who will define the next generation of Raiders football. After Charles Woodson, who's been that guy? Who's taken the torch? Maybe Khalil Mack, if you count his early dominance in Oakland, but his greatest stretch came in Chicago. Maxx Crosby. He's on his way, but he's still climbing. There's no gold jacket guaranteed, not yet. What about Greg Townsend, the franchise's all-time sack leader, still waiting for a call from Canton? That's how tough the standard is. Right now, the hope is that Brock Bowers or Ashton Jeanty can become that kind of player. But let's be real, they've got a long way to go. One explosive season isn't enough. You need a career. You need moments. You need dominance over time. The past? It's full of legends. The present? Still searching for one. The future? It's waiting for someone to rise and claim it. That's why this Mount Rushmore wasn't just a list, it was a reminder. A reflection of the history that built this franchise. And the pressure on this generation to keep that legacy alive. So those were my 4. Jim Otto, Tim Brown, Kenny the Snake Stabler, Marcus Allen. Did I get it right? Would you have done it differently? Maybe gone with guys you saw play. I thought about that, sticking to the ones I watched and rooted for. But I didn't want to disrespect the Raiders' history. That's the weight of this franchise. It demands respect for its roots. And now, it's time to hear from you. For too long, the playoffs have felt like a distant dream in Raider Nation. Yes, the AFC West sent 3 teams to the postseason in 2024. The Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos all punched their tickets to the dance. But not the Raiders. Again, we haven't seen consistent postseason football in Vegas or Oakland or anywhere in between for what feels like forever. 2021, that was the last time. One and done. 2016, a magical season wiped away by one brutal injury. Derek Carr's broken ankle stole that team's chance. Since then, just pain and promises. It's 2025. And fans are still asking, is this finally the year? We know how tough this division is. But no matter how strong it looks on paper, only results matter. Last season, the AFC West sent a crowd to the playoffs. But none of them went far. The Chargers folded early. The Broncos fizzled. Even Kansas City, the division's crown jewel, got humbled on the biggest stage. Now the question becomes, is the AFC West actually as strong as it seems? Maybe not. Maybe there's an opening. Maybe it's time for the Raiders to crash the party. And look, they've got a new leader in Pete Carroll. A proven winner. A motivator. A man who's seen the top of the mountain. The question isn't if he'll get them back to the postseason, it's when. Will it be like Jim Harbaugh with the Chargers, immediate success? Or will it take a year like Sean Payton in Denver? Either way, there's reason to believe this team won't get swept by the division again. And if they can hold their own in the West, the path to January football opens up. Now let's talk about the roster. Some fans want a veteran wide receiver, but others see things differently. A text came in from Mike in Texas Hill Country, and he's not interested in adding anyone. According to Mike, Jakobi Meyers is the leader the receiver room needs. He blocks. He catches. He doesn't drop the ball. He's reliable. He's a dog, as they say. And more importantly, he sets the tone for the younger players. And when it comes to Amari Cooper, Mike was out before, but now, he's way out. He doesn't see the hunger in Cooper, just a guy who is fine being good, not great. A guy who never seemed to want it. That's not the energy this team needs. Not under Pete Carroll. Not with this new direction. Then came a call from Henzo out in the DMV. He had one goal. Defend the pick of Ashton Jeanty at number 6 overall. And he brought receipts. Henzo did his homework. According to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 32 running backs have been enshrined in Canton. 24 of them were drafted in the first round. That's 75%. When you believe you've got a generational talent, you don't wait around. You take him. And that's exactly what the Raiders did. Henzo wasn't buying ESPN's Seth Walder's criticism. Walder questioned the positional value of taking a running back so high. But analytics only tell one part of the story. Heart, toughness, game-breaking talent, none of that fits in a spreadsheet. Jeanty's ceiling. Through the roof. And when you're a team starving for elite playmakers, you don't pass on a guy like that because of an algorithm. Let the tape do the talking. Let the results speak for themselves. And in the words of Henzo, just win, baby. Before the draft, we went back and forth. Should it be a quarterback? Should it be a defensive star? There were real debates. But once the dust settled and the names came off the board, it became clear. Ashton Jeanty was the right call. Sure, we'll find out over time whether other players, like Maimu, for example, develop into stars. That's how this works. Some guys surprise us. Others don't live up to the hype. But as of right now, there's no one the Raiders passed on that clearly looks like a better choice than Jeanty. We had the conversations. We asked how many wins a running back could truly bring to a team. But sometimes, it's not just about wins. It's about identity. And Jeanty gives the Raiders a new one. A bruiser. A burner. A back with game-breaking potential. No regrets. The Raiders look ready. From front office to locker room, there's a sense of structure, direction, and purpose we haven't seen in years. But they still have to prove it. July 22nd is when it all begins. Training camp. No more talk. Time to work. And if everything comes together, the way Pete Carroll envisions, the way Spytek builds, and the way fans hope, then maybe 12-5 isn't just a dream. Maybe it's the start of something real.